Hey, you like cars? Yeah. My chair's kind of squeaky right now, but we're back, okay? I feel like I've been way too delayed on this episode, but before I get to talking anymore, let's get to the proper introduction. CarQuicks Podcast, welcome, episode 111, okay? Season 3, if you ever wanted to know what season I'm on, but episode 111. As I say every week, how are you guys doing out there? How your friends, your family, your loved ones, your children, your prayers being answered? How things are aligning well? Are things going as they should? And even if they're not, we're getting past that. Myself, it's been a very busy couple weeks. I think the last podcast episode was probably like 10 to 12 days ago. Almost 2 weeks, okay? Unacceptable, okay? But all for good things. A lot of things I've been very blessed with very recent events and things that have been happening, whether it's things in my career outside of the CarQuicks brand and things that I'm building up here. And then inside of the CarQuicks stuff, the stuff that I've been blessed to do and have access to and the things that are growing, I can't complain. Things are going exactly according to the plan. Even when they're not, they're going to the plan because that's all part of the grander scheme of things. Anyways, it's a lot going on this week, and we are on the cusp of the SEMA Show. As of this recording, I'm only a few days away to the SEMA Show, and I have a mountain of things that I want to do there, many things I want to experience, and I am ecstatic to be there again for a second year. And my wife is coming along with me as well. She's going to be recording some stuff too. You might see her head and forehead pop up in a video here and there. I don't know, but she's going to be there. Now, for the car news, this is why we come here. This is why we come together as a family under the CarQuicks Podcast, is to talk about automotive news that we care about. Also, another thing, if you hear a squeaky sound, it's this chair that I normally sit in. It's louder than normal, okay? I might actually just have to lock it in place, okay? Because it's a little too much. But let's talk about some car news, okay? Because there are a lot of things that I do want to speak about. And some really cool things that are coming down the potential pipeline. Let's drive right in. I'm going to start off with Jeep, actually, because they talked about the 2026 Jeep Grand Cherokee, which has a few updates. Nothing as major as like the Wagoneer that I talked about last podcast, which got a new fascia and a new branding for the name Jeep. The Grand Wagoneer gets a couple things like tweaked outside, as you can see on this picture here. It's kind of like, kind of massage fascia, nothing drastic. The interior, though, gets more of the integration of screens on it, right? And I know I've harped on digital dashboards and screens on dashes, but that's just where we're at right now, okay? And we're going to remain there for a while. But what they've added is a 12.3-inch infotainment display. That's large. Another cluster, a digital display in front of the driver, and then an additional 10.25-inch display for the passenger. That's a lot of screens in the front, a lot of things happening. Now, it's integrated well, as you can see the picture here. I have seen one in person. It does look decent. I'm not completely mad at it. Now, obviously, in the back of our heads, anybody that owns a car or thinks about longevity. And listen, when it comes to Jeep and some of the things that they have integrated in the past, the reliability meter is ringing off fairly loud with the complexity of having this many screens on a dashboard. I don't know if that's the same case here, but let's hope that everything is as it should be for the long haul. But most importantly, outside of them showing this little tweaked interior and a little bit of the outside, it was the motor that got the biggest kind of surprise, right? Because I was under the impression Hurricane LI6, maybe a Hemi V8. Neither of that. Not that a 6-cylinder motor isn't available. They showed off the Hurricane 4. Now, I got some other thoughts on the Hurricane 4, but let me just give you some quick stats on the Hurricane 4. It's a turbo 4-cylinder. It is, I think it's like 2-liter. My brain is saying 2-liter, and I forgot that one little stat in my little research here. But 324 horsepower, 332 pound-feet of torque, boosting up to 35 PSI. It also has a range of 503 miles and can tow up to 6,200 pounds. That's a lot happening, especially when you're talking about towing. Now, obviously, when you're towing up to 6,200 pounds, you're not getting 503 miles of range, obviously, because you're pulling some boat or something. That's a lot. I'm not gonna front. And a lot of people, even in the comments and in the interviews that I read from like the drive.com or Car and Driver News, a lot of them were speaking to the fact of like, okay, how does that withstand continuous towing when you're talking about a four-cylinder, though it has the torque to kind of do it? That's a lot you're asking of a small motor to do what larger motors kind of do a little bit easier, so to speak. But what they have built here on this Hurricane 4 is actually really cool. They have some cool technology, and I'm going to talk about it right now. One of those things is called turbulent jet injection. I'm going to tell you what it means. I'm pulling a paragraph from the drive.com and I'm reading what they said, okay? So shout out to those people that do the editorials over at the drive.com because I love that website. But here's what they said. Stellantis has been using the terms like F1 inspired regarding this engine, and the turbulent jet injection system is what's being referenced there. Basically, TJI, turbo jet injection, turbulent jet injection, not turbo. TJI means that there's a tiny subchamber with its own spark plug in each cylinder above the piston where air and fuel are super compressed and ignited with a greater degree of efficiency than you would have without this system. There's another spark plug, so 2 per cylinder actually, which can be brought into the process when an even bigger explosion is desired. Towing, hard acceleration. Interesting. Fuel is fed in through the 2 channels as well. The Hurricane 4 has both direct injection and port injection, which come into play to different degrees depending on the power demand. So while most fuel comes directly into the combustion chamber, direct injection, it can also be added to the intake side, port injection. That's a lot going on. Not gonna front. 2 injectors per cylinder, port injection, direct injection. That's a lot happening. But it also had my mind turning about the potential. Because if you're talking about a system that has 2 injectors, one that's in the intake side that can be called upon for more power, like when you're towing or hard acceleration, and one in direct injection with all the way the subchamber is built, I'm hearing a lot of potential for what the aftermarket could do, which is outside of the scope of the Grand Wagoneer. I'm thinking about this motor in another application, okay? Neon SRT4. Think that. Think subcompact, because if you have a Turbo 4, which obviously Stellantis doesn't have a small compact vehicle, the Dodge Dart isn't around anymore, but I'm just saying, if you have a motor like this, it's surely is offering itself up to be put into some other chassis that's a little bit more sporty than opposed to the big SUV. But what I like to see about this is that they said that this is a ground up design. And obviously, with all these things I just talked about, somebody's going to say, yo, that just sounds highly complicated. Sounds like it's doing way too much. Just stick a V8 in there. Now, granted, they are bringing back the Hemi V8. They're putting in Ram trucks and they're putting in other things that Stellantis is doing in order to acknowledge the fact that their customers want the V8. I do think that it is interesting that both the Grand Wagoneer and the Grand Cherokee did not get the Hemi option right now. I do think that later on they will introduce that option into both of these SUVs because I think it is wanted. And regardless of how much this Turbo 4 can do, unfortunately, if you were to weigh the options of saying, here's a V8 with 350 horsepower, here's a Turbo 4 with 333 or just equal amounts, most people probably gonna pick the V8 just because of understanding it better, being more comfortable with it, thinking about maintaining it themselves, longevity, things like that. But Hurricane 4 falls right in line with what they did with the Hurricane 6. They also made sure that longevity was a part of it because they said they had put tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of miles on it through their own testing. And a 24% increase in cylinder bore. It is a cast aluminum block that has larger main bearings, larger rod bearings, larger, stronger engine. The rod bearings and the main bearings is probably one of the key things that I was thinking about because sustained towing, sustained hard acceleration, all these things with 35 psi, 2 injectors, port, direct injection, sub chambers, you're asking a lot of the motor. You're asking a lot of the car to be able to handle this and do it efficiently over and over and over again. It's a lot. It can be done. My GR Corolla has 30 pounds of boost in a 3-cylinder, and that car is amazing. So I wouldn't be afraid personally of a Hurricane 4. I just want to see this in another chassis. I just want to see this in some reiteration of the Neon SRT4 or the Caliber SR, like something that is small, sport, compact, because I want to see what the aftermarket could do. If they can take this from factory form at 324 horsepower, I want to see what happens when people start dialing into what they can do with those two injectors. Can they increase more horsepower? Can they add more fuel to it? Like, what's going on? I want to see what the aftermarket can create with this chassis. So the Grand Cherokee now has this 4-cylinder option. They did not talk about price point. If it's a Grand Cherokee, I'm leaning, you're talking about high 40s. Maybe it starts in the low 40s, maybe with the Hurricane 4. Maybe it gets up even, it gets past 50,000. And then obviously you move all the way up to the Grand Wagoneer. But that wasn't the only show that was going on. Japan Mobility Show. And I want to talk about a couple things here. One of them was that Lexus showed off the interior and the inside of their, basically the LFR, what we call right now, their big coupe that we know Toyota's working on with GR and Gazoo Racing. And they confirmed that it has a V8, even though we already know that. Now, the interesting part about this Lexus and what Toyota's doing is that I'm assuming that there are both a Toyota version of this super sports coupe, and then there's a Lexus version. And I guess the Lexus version may be for just our market, even though Lexus exists in Japan. So I don't know if Toyota's making the GR version of this super sports coupe in Japan only under Toyota name, and then here in America it takes a Lexus brand, or if what Lexus is creating might follow on the chassis of that Toyota car, but kind of build upon it in a more luxurious, maybe hybrid type of platform. We don't have all the details yet, but that's my theory when I keep seeing both of these cars, because they do look different and they are offering and targeting something different in each one. I think Toyota may just offer a high-end Halo sports car amongst, above the Supra. And then Lexus also has a version of it too, but kind of leans on the luxury side of things. So they showed it at the mobility show. They also showed off a ridiculous 6-wheel van, this thing. And it was called the Lexus like luxury space concept. Now, clearly they're not making this. This is not, listen, we're not getting a 6-wheel luxury van from Lexus. Okay. Just get that out your head. This is purely artistic expression, maybe a look into the future interior design when it comes to some of their SUVs, maybe some ideas when it comes to their EVs, but they're not making a 6-wheel van for any market. Okay. If any market gets this, the Chinese market. America is not getting with this, even though this looks absolutely nuts. Looks absolutely crazy. Toyota also showed off the Century Coupe. Now, the Century Coupe, they've teased about the Century coming back in a more modern luxury thing, but this time they confirmed that they're aiming at Bentley and Rolls-Royce when it comes to what this thing is supposed to be at. So think of it like, how Cadillac has a Celstiq? So Cadillac has their ultra luxury brand now, this car right here, which I think looks crazy. I think it looks dope. No, I don't have $300,000 to spend on the Cadillac. If I had the means to spend $300,000 on a car, I'm not going to say a Cadillac would be the first thing I'd be going to get. But if I was just flush with millions of dollars, yes, I would have one of these, because I think it looks dope, and I think the program they have to build these is awesome. So Toyota's aiming to the same category, shooting for the Bentley and Rolls-Royce, but offering something that they can do. And now, obviously, there's a lot to come up when it comes to the hill they got to climb to get people to want to pay ultra luxury prices for Toyota-backed Century. Now, if they give them all the stuff that they normally are used to under a price point that undercuts them, which is not hard because you're talking about Phantoms costing $500,000, they can probably offer something that would resonate, especially in the Japanese market who have already been buying Centuries. To introduce that to other markets is where it's going to be a little bit of a difficult thing, but I don't think it's impossible, especially with how this looks. And even though it is a coupe form, they said the interior size of it is larger than SUVs. Like, it's plenty of space in the back, and it's made for a chauffeur. So it's basically made for you to go in there, jump in the back seat, have somebody drive you around, because that's the aim that they're going for. Think, like I said, Bentley, Rolls-Royce, Phantom, Flying Spurs. You want a chauffeur, okay? You want a driver. You don't want to be out there whipping the wheel of a Phantom all day long. Why are you not in the back seat? And then we had Mazda. Now, Mazda, they have shown multiple concepts, and this is why a side of me wants to be excited about the concept they showed at the mobility show, as you see here, especially this Vision X Coupe, which has a turbocharged 2-rotor rotary engine with an electric motor on it with over 500 horsepower. The reason why I want to be excited, but Mazda has shown off the SP concept, the SP iconic concept. They're showing off the Vision Coupe. They're knocking these concepts out the park. Like, all of them look fire. Every single one of them. Build something, please. Okay. They've been teasing rotary return. They've been teasing about rotary hooked up with hybrid systems and horsepower and all this stuff. And I'm like, cool. Please bring something to the table. The SP iconic concept is the one I want them to build first, but they haven't missed when it comes to these concepts that they've been building. And the Vision X Coupe is the same thing. It's obviously a luxury coupe, 4-door, but just look at the way the style and how it looks. And Mazda makes good looking cars. I just want to know when they're gonna bring this to fruition. Enough with the concepts. It's been years of concepts. I want to see this stuff land on the dealership. I want to see this rotary engine come back. I want to see everything they've been talking about show up in a near production form, because obviously this ain't production. We can already tell by the way it looks, but maybe I can be fooled and maybe it could be. So Mazda is continuing their run. They're batting 100 from the plate when it comes to concepts and how good they look and enticing the public on the idea of this return to the zoom era. Okay, that's what I'm gonna say. Back when they were making more sporty cars, not that the Mazda Miata doesn't still exist, but there is no RX-7, there is no RX-8. They need a little bit more spice in there. Like, I know they do the SUVs good, the CX-9, all those vehicles are great, but they need to put something else next to the Mazda. It can't be the only one all this time. But the main person I want to talk about is a vehicle that I have hinted at. I have critiqued this company for the things that they have offered, and they have basically done something I talked about last episode, and they pretty much delivered. That is Subaru. Everybody gather around the fire. We're going to talk about this for a minute. We already know about the Subaru WRX STi. You know how much I love it. I've driven one. I've had one. We already know. We know that right now, currently, there is no true STi in the minds of the true fans, okay? Yes, they have the S210 in Japan, which is borderline as close to an STi as you can get, but the wrong transmission, wrong market, it ain't here. The things that have been brewing for Subaru to make an STi have been ongoing for years, okay? Then they showed off this dark silhouette, which I talked about last week at the podcast, and I said, listen, big wing, hatchback, we already on our way. Then they showed off the full concept right here. Listen, I'm a fan of how this looks, okay? If I was to be, well, let me just say, I'm going to critique it. I'm not going to say everything is perfect. It is very large going towards the rear. It sits up high enough in the rear where it almost feels like an SUV or almost feels like a cross track when you're looking at it from the rear. Side profile is a little bit better, but it's a larger vehicle than what we're used to when it comes to hatchbacks, especially considering if you're coming from me, who has a GR Corolla, which is a compact, nice, form-fitting, proportional hatchback. This looks very big, right? And then you add this giant wing in the back, it looks like a large vehicle. Put that to the side. We are in proper hatchback form because beggars can't be choosers right now. The VB hatchback, the VB WRX right now with the body cladding isn't the move that I wanted. This is proper. Now, here's where I have to dial back the excitement because I know who we're dealing with, and we have been down this road many times. Subaru is the masters of making a borderline near production ready concept to do nothing of the sort. Every single time. They show off a concept of like, that's production. And we're like, cool, where is it at? Then the production model comes out and we're like, what happened? This looks nothing like what you said. Now, one of the engineers or people that work with Subaru was in a recent article or a recent interview, and they said, what you see here is the production one. I am highly skeptical because of the things that I'm seeing. Now, could it come to production? Yes, the tires they have on it, those aren't really the tires for the street. The wheels are normal. The brakes are normal. The wing and the side, big boxy fenders, they can do. Look at Mini, when they had the John Cooper Works, was the GP Works one with the crazy fenders that were like plain, like just detached from the body. They've made crazy looking boxy fender cars for production. So I'm not thinking that that's impossible to put into a production car. Everything all together, if this is truly production and the only thing that will be tweaked is more all season or more summer tires and these kind of race spec ones they have on here, maybe I guess I don't know if it's a smaller wheels to 18-inch wheel. I don't know if it gets not as wide. I don't know if the fenders get reduced down a little bit, but if you're saying this is production, this is gonna be like $65,000. Like everything I'm seeing here looks great. We got the right transmission. It's 6-speed manual. It has the same dashboard as the current WRX, so you get the giant screen in the middle. But if y'all look at the interior with these Recaros, with the 6-speed manual, proper transmission, so I'm gonna give them their respect for that. They got the right transmission in this thing. Big screen in the center, same dashboard that's on the current WRX, but with these Recaros, I know those seats are based off the podium ones, the back of it. That's an expensive seat. This whole entire package, this car, how it looks, that interior, $65,000 or more. Now, I'll be surprised if it's less, but 30 to 40,000 does not exist with how this car looks. And I saw some people online saying, I hope it's 40,000. I hope it's, mid 30s, high 30s. And I'm like, no, that's not possible. 30 to 35,000, this car is not going to start at. Not in this package. Now they would have to try to change some things down, and maybe I'm wrong. I would love to be wrong. I would love them to come out and say this is 38,000, 40,000. But if the regular WRX is already at that price point, all the way up to the highest trim in the GT spec, then you know for certain this is a borderline starting at 47,000, 50. I'm saying 65 as it sits here just because of the nature of it. Now, what we don't know is we have no idea what the motor is. We don't know how much horsepower it makes. And I do know that given how the engine that's in the current VB WRX is stout, many people in the aftermarket have shown what it can do. It has to be over 300 horsepower. They can't come out with it looking like this and be 300, 350 at the bare minimum to then warrant the price tag and the things that they're going to do. But to circle back to what I said in the beginning, we know who we're dealing with. This could very well just come out of the production one with nothing like this. Fenders kind of brought in a lot more, the wing reduced down, and then it's really going to look like a Crosstrek with like a little sporty package on it. The wild nature of these fenders in the wing is what kind of reduced you looking at it thinking like this looks like multiple vehicles smashed together. So I'm hoping that this gets made because we need more sport compact cars. We need more hatchbacks. We need more performance cars from these Japanese people. And Subaru is really leaving a lot on the table because they are one of the biggest brands that people are loyal to. The folks that have STIs are buying GR Corollas. Hey, I'm one of those people. The people that are getting that and are getting Civic Type Rs, they wanted something from Subaru to basically land in place with that. Now, I will say this. There is a place where they could kind of reduce this down to price point where the GR Corolla is and like where the Golf R is. They could do it and tweak it and still be very nice looking and be the appropriate STI. They can do it, but they haven't said anything yet. They did say this is production form. I don't know what that means in corporate speak. Production form can them say, well, we said it's production form. We gave you the car and the motor. And we already know that we already know that it's a boxer engine. What we don't know is the power of it. We don't know the cost. But we're on the right path. This right here is the right path. So I'm gonna give Subaru their props. This concept looks proper. I just want to see the car coming out. Okay, that's just what we need to see. Now, speaking about concepts and cars, let's just talk about SEMA real quick because I am gonna wrap. This is gonna be a short episode because I got things I gotta take care of. Okay, it's a lot I gotta plan for. But I'm gonna talk about SEMA and what I'm really gearing up for. One, there's a mountain of SEMA special vehicles that a lot of these manufacturers are building. Dodge showed off a Charger. Toyota has a list of like concept SEMA cars they're building, all the other manufacturers. My plan is to lean further into my media credentials and find out if I can have some special time with any one of these cars that I see in order to do a video debate on them. So that's what I'm hoping for. Like I can go into there, say, hey, I want to have some time with your Toyota concept SEMA car. Can I walk around and do a video, look inside of it, and find out if they'll let me do that as a media person? Hopefully they do. Hopefully I can find the right person to talk to give me that. Or I'm just gonna have to shoot it guerrilla style and just be in front of it talking about it. But I'm going to highlight those special cars from those manufacturers to give a special time on outside of me doing my normal vlog style that I did last year, which is me doing every single day is going to be a separate video. Okay. So it's going to be day 1, 2, 3, and 4. In the midst of me doing all of that, there will be times when I go live. Now I do need to make a schedule that I can post up on my YouTube channel my YouTube page or even on my Instagram page and say, hey, if you want to see something live about the SEMA show, I'm going to go live at this time. I think that makes the most sense because if I don't do that, what's probably going to happen is I'm going to be going live random times and I'm not really going to have a schedule of it. So I need to write something down and then say, here's the times I'm going to go live. And if you're following me on any of my social platforms, I'll put it up there and say, hey, if you want to see something from SEMA, I'm going live at these intervals. Now, I'm purposely focusing on going live on YouTube, though I can go live on TikTok and you can also go live on Instagram. See, this is this is gonna be interesting. I probably can do all three simultaneously, like back to back, by saying like 30 minutes for YouTube, 30 minutes for TikTok, 30 minutes for Instagram, or just 15 minutes, right? Just take let's take an hour and split it up amongst all of them, 34 minutes each one, and just kind of show off what I'm doing. Though I do want to show something interesting, so it's going to be kind of hard to just kind of go live because going live and just walking around and there's nothing interesting to see is not really good. And I know what hall, the central hall, is where most of that live action is going to come because it has the biggest impact for my audience when it comes to modified cars and things that we like. Though there's the trucks and the overland stuff, and that might just be kind of the more casual going live. So we'll see what happens. But I'm going to be focusing on the car builds. I'm going to be focusing on the products. I'm talking to companies that I want to hopefully partner with and work with. So I'm coming there prepared with brand new stuff. I got media kits, got new business cards. I'm coming prepared again. Learn from what I did the first year, coming back this year stronger than ever and having grown. Okay. The channel is at 5,000 subs and over. We're moving along. So it's a perfect time to go back there, kind of flex that muscle again and building relationships because some of the things I was able to do this year were because of the relationships I made on my first year there at SEMA Show. So I'm coming back a second year, hopefully to remember this gorgeous face. And if they do, we can talk even further. So SEMA's coming. I'm massively excited for this. Okay. I love this show. And that's it. Okay. Hold up. GR Corolla updates. There is actually a little bit of a change because I talked about last time I did the exhaust controller from DC Sports. However, there's been a little bit of an issue that some people reached out to me saying that their exhaust controller wasn't operating correctly. And then funny enough, I was able to replicate that same issue, which I sent over to DC Sports and they're going to rectify it, right? So right now, I actually unlisted that video because I don't want people to kind of stumble upon it, chase it down, and then find out something's wrong, and then be like, hey, you didn't let us know. And then when it gets rectified, I'm going to come back and kind of re-upload another video behind it, discussing what was done and what they did to change it, and just update people that have been following the channel because I like to bring truth and integrity to what I'm doing. So if you looked at that video and noticed you can't find it anymore, it's because I unlisted it. But other than that, the things that I do have coming, I have something from Racer X to put on the car. I do not think I'm going to do it. I thought about doing it this weekend, but honestly, this is the last weekend I have before I'm flying out this coming Monday. I don't think I have time to do that. I also have something else from another company. They sent me something that I want to use when it comes to cleaning the car. It's just a lot of things going on. So that stuff is probably going to come when I come back. It's like some content and things I'm going to shoot on the car in the month of November. And then it's going to be holiday times and things like that nature. So it's moving. We are moving. But until then, as I say it every episode, but sometimes I forget because I just be thinking about what's going on next. But do as you wish and do as you may. If you want to see me in person, I'll be at the SEMA show. I'm saying it like I'm somebody of high importance, but if you run into me in the SEMA show and you happen to listen to the podcast, you look at my videos for the GR Corolla, if you know anything that I've done before, you've seen my face on a reel, shout me out, say hi. Just let's yell CarQuicks. I might turn, I might not hear you. I'm going to be in the zone, though. So, like, I'm going to be zoned out geeking because this is what I love. And also, actually, another update, car review stuff. I got more car reviews to edit, but I'm making it even further. I got some other cars coming from another manufacturer towards the end, like getting towards the end of November, because a lot of those things aren't available right now. But getting into November, into December, into January, you're going to see your boy in a number of vehicles. And that's what I want to do. I'm just working the muscle. Podcast, GR Corolla building content, car reviews, car news. Listen, this is the place to be. Okay. So thank you. If you've ever watched this video, if you shared it with anybody, I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you to the 5,000 plus subs on our way to 10,000. When I hit 10,000, I'll do something else special again because I need to, because that's going to be cool. You'll see me at the SEMA Show. You'll see some live footage. You will see at least daily vlog style videos I'm going to do for each day I'm there if you want to see what it's like to be at that show. And until then, enjoy your time. Thank you for coming to the CarQuicks podcast. I know it was a shorter episode, but I'm glad you could join, and I will see y'all around. Peace.